Everyone. So as part of this tutorial, we are going to see how we can do group by in Spark. So as in previous videos, we will go and see the API source code and try to understand the meaning of it, and then we will use that, and then we will explore the group by, right? So group by, as given in the source code here, it has this signature, right? So where it has a star columns and it is of type column or name, right? So what does this means, right? So this is one of the way, and there are some overwritten ways as well, which on clicking the source, right, you will get the other options, right? So you have this overloaded group by signatures, right? Meaning, see, it can take either star columns, which means it can take any number of columns which are of type column or of name, right? Or it can also take a list of column or list of string, which is nothing but the column names, right? So, and the third one is it can also directly take the star columns, right? And it can return the group data, right? And on with this, right, so we can ask, right, what is the difference between name and column, right? So name is nothing but you give it as a direct string, right? Say for example, I have a column name id, I will just enclose it in double quotes and give it, right? And another one is column, which is a special type which will be returned by the Pyspark functions, right? F dot call, f dot left, and f dot expr, right? So these are the functions which return the type of column, right? And on exploring the group data class, right, which is what it is written here, so it has some certain methods, right? So it will basically take, one is your group df as a Java gateway object, and then as a PySpark data frame, right? So this we don't have to worry. When Spark does the group by, or when we do the group by, internally Spark source code will pass these corresponding objects, and it has various methods, right? So this is similar to SQL. So you will have the normal methods like min, max, mean, average, these things, etc. And we also have the special AGG function. So let us see these things in detail, right? So mainly in this video we are going to see about direct aggregate function, right? Like the AGG direct functions like min, max, and then indirect way, right, where you can use the AGG function and do the aggregation, right? So for this purpose, right, since this needs a lot of grouping, I have taken an online data set. So this is the data set. You can just follow this code. So basically what does this Spark files will do is it will go and download a file from internet, and that will be loaded in a temp folder, like a temp folder as a file like this, and we can just use it, right? You don't want to load the data, right? Basically you can use the sample data, right? So we can see here, right, we have this few columns, right? Survived, class, name, gender, age, and then we have some parents abroad, and then fair, right? So these are some of the columns here. Now let us see group data frame, right? As I was saying earlier, I was just running this one to show you guys that once you do a group by, you get something known as a group data, and that will have these below methods, right? For example, once we have the group, once we do a group by, and this df.group by survey, right, this will be having this group data, and on applying a dot count, right, it will do a count. And this one, right, group data dot min, this means you can do a grouping, and once you do a grouping you can do a minimum on say one or more columns. Let us see these, right? So first we will see the simple one, right, where I do a group by, and then I take the count based on my survived, so how many have survived and how many have died. And we also take the min age, right, of the person who was surveyed, and the min age of the person who has died, right? So this is there. Now let us see the variation, right? As I was saying, right, the star columns of this min function, right? So this means it can take any number. When you see a star and you see a variable next to it, it means it can take n number of this type. So since string, we can take n number of strings, we can pass n number of min here, right? So if I run this one, you will get, and once you do a group by, right, you will get min of age as well as min of fair, right? So this is one variation, right? And the second thing is we can also do a group by on multiple columns, right? So if you see here, right, we are doing a group by on survived and p class. This is why, because again, if you see the definition of this group by, right, it can take star columns, right? So we can pass one or more columns, right? And you can see here, right, like we can do a group by on multiple columns, right? So this is the use case. So where I just do a group by on my survey, and in each of the class, right, like first class ticket, second class ticket, third class ticket, right, how many were survived and then how many were died, right. So now this looks good, but these meanings of this, right, survived, dead, right, this is not straightforward, right. So let us do one thing. The other definition what we see is it can take a column, right. So this anything which returns a column type, for example, right, expr is a powerful function where we can give a SQL expression and it will give a column type, right. So this is aligning with our initial definition, right, like anything which returns a column. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm calling this f.expr and doing a case when, right. So if let's assume survived is 1 and 0 is dead, right, so I'm giving the survey status and then doing the display, right. So here you will get a more clear definition of the data, right. And the next thing is, if you see here, right, these functions, the main problem which we will see is the column names, right, it is not meaningful or it is not easy, right. And for that what we can do is we have option like alias, but aliasing one by one column, right, will also make our things painful, right. Now what we will do is we will basically use a so we will see the another option. So in this option, right, we will use the aggregate, right. So this aggregate functions, right, comes with the below signature. So it can take any number of expressions, right, and it can also take a dictionary. First, we'll see the dictionary option, right. So dictionary option is simple, right. Instead of say giving one time, right, each function and then the corresponding aggregation you want to do, you can give something like a dictionary and this will basically give you a group data, right. So if you see here, right, like we are doing a group by and survived, and we are taking the min of age and then the max of age and then fair, right, these things, right. But since if you watch here carefully, right, since age is a key of the dictionary and we are using multiple columns here, right, again this is not working, right. You are it is taking the latest value of the key, which is the max function, and you just see one of the grouping here, right. And let us do the next one, right. So to overcome all these pitfalls, right, we have this final option where you have this aggregate and then you can give an expression, right. So for example, this will solve out your both the problems. You no longer, right, need to ensure that the column names are different, and also you don't no longer right, need to like have a alias properly, right. So this will do your grouping and your aggregation, and it can also basically take some expressions, right, like case statement like this as well, right. Say I want to just include null in my value, right. So these things will be very useful and you can use this group by expression, and what it will give you is it will give you the overall right and survived, how what is the min age, what is the max age, what is the fair sum, and what is the null fair values, right. So everything will be given in a single expression, right. And finally, another one use case which we will need to do, right, you might need to profile the data and you might need to see the unique values of multiple columns, right. So or maybe you need to do some duplicate check, right. Say you know there are duplicate values are there, but what are the unique values available, right. So instead of you running a distinct query separately, or instead of doing a multiple checks, right, say first you do a group by and then you do a count and seeing this what are the three values, right, then you will do a individual query, right. Instead of that you can use this collect set function. So what does this collect set will do is it will aggregate and then it will give you a basically a set which will eliminate all your duplicate values and give the unique values in the particular column, right. So this will be very useful for your analysis, right. And finally what we are seeing here is group by on all columns, right. Say you want to do a group by across all the columns in the data. Say you want to check the duplicate, right. So you can just check row level duplicate by grouping based on all the columns and doing a count star, right. And that's all I had for today. I hope you like the video. I will be publishing other series on sort and other basic functions in Pyspark in this playlist. And you can also watch and then do comment if you want to learn something additionally apart from what is given, or if there is anything you want me to explain, please do comment.